Team PokeColors family, welcome back to the channel. Guys, today I'm going to be going over some cards that I'm sending off to PSA, and hopefully we can resume this video in a couple months from now when we get the submission back, and hopefully we'll have plenty of 10s. But yeah, so I've been meaning to do this video for a while because I've actually been spending the last, I don't know, couple weeks getting ready for my first PSA submission by myself, not through somebody else. So I had to figure out how to get the membership and then how to pay for it and what cards I wanted to send off. So today we're just going to be showcasing a thick stack of cards that I'm going to be sending off to PSA. So let's get right into it, guys. Make sure hit the like button and subscribe down below if you're new. We're working our way towards that big boy 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so here we go. Here's what we got. We got a lot of good cards. I'll just do a quick kind of glimpse of some of the cards, and then we'll take a look at them one by one here. So first card that I'm going to be sending off to PSA. So a lot of these cards are in great condition. Most of them I've pulled, or if I haven't pulled them, then they are, you know, something that I want to grade to keep sealed for, like, you know, in a slab versus keeping it in a raw card. So this one, for example, I'm pretty sure I actually bought this from my local card shop maybe, but it's in pretty good shape. So I mean, like, this one, I wouldn't imagine it getting lower than a 9. If it does, then there must be something hidden on it. So alternate art Muck and Alolan Muck GX from Unbroken Bonds. Not a super expensive card, but if it grades high, then it will be very, very nice. So this one here is Dragonite Holo Foil from Black and White Plasma Freeze. Pulled this from a box break, from a booster box, so it is pack fresh. However, if you look in the top left corner, there's a little white dot right there, if you can see that. So, you know, because of that centering, you know, it might grade a 9, but still a pretty cool card to have in a slab. And that's kind of my basis for grading most of these cards. Like, I'm not grading to sell for a profit. Like, you know, that's just, I'm not going to do that. Most of these, I like the artwork enough to where I want to keep it in a sealed, you know, slab from PSA, and I think it's in good enough shape to where it would grade high, so it would be worth something. But we'll get to it later in the video. But there's a couple cards in here that are completely just damaged, but I'll show you why I'm grading a damaged card coming up here. So this card here is just a promo from the Black and White era Giratina Team Plasma card. And for some reason, so I got these new Card Saver ones out of the, you know, some big like Amazon purchase or whatever, big like 200 of them. But if you look, they're super warped and they're not very like good. So I don't know if it's going to affect the grade, but it kind of stinks because if you look, you know, this card wasn't this curved, you know, and then I put it in here and now it's getting all curved and warped a little bit. So yeah, I don't know how to fix that, but we're just going to assume that that's normal. And if it's not, then we might get crappy grades from PSA. Next one here, pretty sure I pulled this myself from a pack. Umbreon EX from, is that a hair in there? That is a hair in there. How do I get that out? I'll have to go through these and make sure there's no hairs or weird stuff in here that people would want their, you know, wouldn't want their grader to be messing with when they get the card. Because, like, as a grader, you know, you get the card and you're ready to grade it, and then there's a big hair right there. It's like, ugh, like, where did that come from? Like, I don't know what, I don't even want to know. But yeah, Umbreon EX full art from Fates Collide, I think. Super cool holo. You know, it's just a cool artwork, and most of these are super cool artworks. So hopefully that'll grade a 10. This one, I hope, grades a 10. We pulled this on the channel about this time last year, or yeah, probably about a year ago at this point when Evolving Skies first came out. But we got fortunate enough to pull this bad boy from I think it was a single pack of Evolving Skies when it came out. So we're gonna grade this, see what it grades. Centering looks phenomenal, I think, on the front, and the back's got really no issues with it. Maybe a little centering issue, but it should grade a 10. It's pack fresh, so unless the centering is like graded super harshly nowadays, then chances are they won't grade it very well. So this one here, this is kind of damaged, but kind of not. The Charmeleon Legendary Collection Reverse. This came from my older cousin's collection, and, you know, me and my other cousin or TeamPokeColors member, Alex. For those of you who've been around long enough to know who that is, we went half-seas on his collection, and he had a couple of these in there. Sold off most of the other ones because they weren't in great shape, but this one was the best of the shape, and it's still, I mean, I think it'll grade like a 5, maybe a 6, because if you look, edge wear is pretty bad, and I don't know how the surface is on the front. They're really hard to tell on the front, like for the surface, but we'll see what it grades. You know, I don't really care if it grades a 1 or a 2. Honestly, I just want it slabbed so that it's, you know, part of that, you know, journey in collecting that I want to commemorate. This card here has a lot of sentimental value for me. So back in 2019, when Plasma Blast packs were still only $10, my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance, had bought me some Plasma Blast packs for Christmas, and I actually pulled this from one of those packs. I was going to keep them sealed because I was like, wow, these are going to be worth so much in the future. And of course they are now. They're worth $50 or $60 a piece. But back then I was like, they're only worth $10. I'll get some more. And pulled this bad boy. So we're going to grade this. Hopefully it grades a 10. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't grade a 10. Maybe that little whitening in that corner. I don't even know if you can see that very well. Like a little white dot here and here. And a little edge wear going on. But I haven't really moved this around very much in between binders since I pulled it. So it's been fairly, what's the word, fairly safe, I guess. But next up we got this card here, another one of those cards where I remember having this card growing up as a kid, and I bought it from somebody on Whatnot. So I'm gonna grade it. Hopefully it grades high. If it grades an 8, that's kind of what I'm shooting for, because anything lower I probably just could have bought the PSA 9 or 10 version for like $100. But I want to grade this myself because, you know, it's part of my journey in collecting. I like collecting cards that I remember having as a kid growing up, and then if I grade it and it grades an 8, you know, I'm fine with that. That's kind of what I was thinking for this guy here. But honestly, it looks pretty good. Little whitening speck right there, and maybe in the bottom left corner. Surface looked good though, so we'll see what happens. Honestly, a lot of these are going to be kind of what ifs, like, oh, we'll see what happens. Next up, we got this beautiful card here. Got this from trade a few years ago. I traded a bunch of like stuff for this guy back in the day, but I've held on to him for this long, so I'm gonna grade him because these two are my two favorite Pokemon, and you know, the centering looks pretty good for a tag team card, so there is hope. There is hope for a PSA 10, and there's really nothing wrong with it. I think that's some dirt. Yeah, that's some dirt on the outside, so not even any whitening or specks or anything like that. So this guy should get a 10. If it grades a 9, I'll be very, very upset, but we can't always hope for 10s. This one here, this is from Breakthrough, I think. Mega Mewtwo EX. Super cool card. TeamPokeColors member Alex pulled this from a collection box that I had held on to. We did a little trade. He pulled it, and then I traded back for it because I'm like, I want this card. So I'm going to grade it, see what we get. Again, pulled this myself, so should grade a 10. Unless there's some issues with centering, which it kind of looks a little funky. Like the top, left, and bottom are super thick compared to the right side. So if they take that into severe account, then there's a chance that it will grade a 9. But we can always hope for a 10 on pack fresh cards. This one I got from some other slab. It was a GMA 8, like I don't even know what you call it. Ghastly first edition Shadowless from base set way back in the day. So honestly, whatever this grades, as long as it's like 7 or higher, I think it'll be all right. This is the only ever like first edition Shadowless card I've ever owned. So, you know, I thought might as well grade it, see what happens. That's kind of my thinking behind a lot of these cards, because, you know, some of them are like, oh, that's awesome, and then some are just like, we'll see what happens. This one next up, Mega Gengar EX, pulled this myself, so again, another one that should do pretty well. Whitening here, maybe top right, top left, little specks. So PSA 8 I'll be fine with. I mean, it's just a super cool artwork, and Phantom Forces was like one of the first booster boxes I opened back in the day, aside from Plasma Freeze and Next Destinies. Yeah, I opened those boxes. Don't have any of the cards anymore, but it's fine. And then lastly, for my part of the submission, we're gonna grade this bad boy. Purchased this from Whatnot for about $80. Actually a really good price, because if you look on eBay, ones like this in worse condition go for 150, so great deal there. Only problem with this guy here, if you can see, there's a little crease here and here by the EV logo there. And then there's one right here on the right side. Right there at the end of my finger, you can kind of see it. So aside from those creases, it's in decent shape. There's a little corner edge wear, and you know, I was looking, and if this thing grades like a 5, it's still worth like 350, 400 bucks just because this card is hard enough to find as is. So, you know, if it grades higher, then we'll be well set. So this stack, that was my stack. This is part of TeamPokeColors member Alex's submission. So I don't really know a whole lot of the backstory to most of these cards. Most of them I think he's just acquired over the years. Yeah, so this one here he got from me. So this guy here, Skyridge Fortress, friggin' near mint almost. I mean, it should grade a 8 at least, if depending on how hard they grade like the surface and hollow. But super cool card. There is a little like, I don't know if you call that a fold crease or whatever you call that, but there is something like that in the top right corner. So we'll see how PSA handles that. But that's the first one of his. This one he pulled way back in the day from Flash Fire, so he's gonna grade it because, you know, it's got some sentimental value to him. It's been in and out of binders over the years, so there's gonna be some edge wear on the side, and top left, top right have a little whitening dink out of them. So I project maybe a PSA 7 for this guy. Honestly, I don't think it'll get an 8 because you about have to have like maybe 1 or 2 minuscule little specs to get an 8, in my opinion, but we'll see. Next up, Venusaur base set. You know, just kind of throwing it out there. Once the OG Venusaur. This one he got from a like a card shop. I think it was GameStop or maybe some card shop in Chicago. A couple years back. It says the thank you Hydreigon. It's some like promo card special event thing. I don't know how he got it. So he's gonna grade that. That should grade pretty well. It looks pretty good. These two are Roaring Skies pre-release that we got from pre-release back in the day, and then staff that he purchased. I'm curious to see, so that if you look, the staff word stamp right here is way off. Like, it is not even like in line, but they don't make staff cards anymore. If they do, they stopped and they brought them back. So pretty much any staff card is worth grading if you have one. And then pretty much the same thing goes for this card. It's, you know, no staff stamp there, but we got this from the pre-release back in the day for Roaring Skies, and I think that video is up on our old channel, so I might re-upload it on this one eventually. This one's just another pre-release card from Legendary Treasures, and funny enough, this card here is only worth like 10 bucks. So if you guys want a 2013 pre-release promo card EX from Legendary Treasures, they're only going for about 10 bucks. So get them while they're low, because you never know, they might soar in value. Next up, just another waifu kind of full art trainer. He's real big into the full art trainers, so I don't know what the main purpose behind these two were for grading. I think these were just in the nicest shape. This one I pulled from a team up booster box or team up pack, so pack fresh there. This one I bought, and he ended up with it because he's a big Charizard guy. This one I got, it's got a double swirl. All right, I bought this for like 25 bucks on eBay back in lockdowns, and this guy goes for well over $100 now. So depending on what it grades, it could go even more. So we'll see what happens with that guy. And then the last two are just some big dog Charizard pulls from our, you know, Shining Fates openings that we did way back when, and Champion's Path when he pulled this on the channel as well. So for those of you who said, oh, there were some people back in the day that were like, oh, we didn't open the pack on screen, we, you know, lifted it up as an accident. All right, we were excited. We were excited to open Champion's Path. We opened it up on top. People thought we see the pack. It's a long story, but we did pull this genuine. All right, it's a genuine reaction. So whoever that was that mentioned that comment, if you're still around, we pulled it for real. All right. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much the end of today's video. Just wanted to kind of show off some of these cards I'm sending off to PSA. I'm doing bulk submissions, so we should get them back in about 120 days is what it says. So we're looking at a update video for these slabs maybe in January, February of 2023, which is not as bad as waiting 721 days for my first ever submission back in 2020. So I'll take it. And I have tons of other cards I want to grade, so I'm thinking about doing one submission a month for the duration of the membership, just to, you know, make it worth its value. I think, you know, because you get the whole membership for a year, and if you only send in like this amount of cards once, then you're not really getting your $100 worth for the membership price. So I'm probably going to be sending in a lot of cards. So if you like PSA submissions and returns, hit the like button, subscribe down below. A lot of that to come, and a lot of big things coming, guys. So make sure you hit the subscribe and leave a like on the video if you're new. Subscribe, watch some other content that appears on screen, and that's going to be it for today's video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.